Don't be shy, have some more.
That one is huge.
All right, everyone, welcome back. This is Ben with Run Slow to Run Fast. Today we are talking about a shoe that I've had for actually a couple of months now. This is the New Balance Fresh Foam X More V3. So this shoe has been out for a few months now. I wanted to give you a rundown of my thoughts on it. I have over 250 miles on this shoe now, so I feel like I have a pretty good grasp of what the shoe is good at, what some of its shortcomings are, and wanted to share that with you. So first thing to talk about with the shoe is this shoe is definitely a max cushion shoe. You've got 38 millimeters of stack height in the heel and 38 millimeters in the forefoot, giving it a 4 millimeter drop. And this is a neutral shoe. In a men's size 9, it comes in at 10.9 ounces or 310 grams. In a women's size 8, it comes in at 8.8 ounces. Cost of the shoe is pretty steep in my opinion. It's $165. A lot of max cushion shoes are getting more pricey, so that's what you can expect to pay for many different brands. Anywhere from that 140 to 170 range is pretty standard for a max cushion shoe. So this kind of falls at the high end there, but yeah, $165, so tough to swallow, but still a pretty good shoe at that price point. So let's give you a full rundown of the shoe. You do have an engineered mesh upper. You've got that extended heel, which is popular in a lot of shoes now. It is fairly pliable, so it's not super stiff there in the heel. You get a pretty good lockdown. You'll see the lacing system. You've got a standard lacing system, but then you have some extra ties in here that will help keep you extra secure in your midfoot. So you'll get some pretty good lockdown with that. Additionally, the tongue, in my opinion, is pretty funky. You can see it's got a really interesting and unique design. What actually happens with that design is the laces actually are able to embed into the tongue a little bit and able to give you some pretty good lockdown. It is, again, it's very strange and I think it's fairly bulky. So it does, it does sit a little bit weird, but overall it will give you a good lockdown. Let's talk about the Fresh Foam X because that's really where the shoe starts to shine. So you definitely have a lot of it. You've got 38 millimeters in the heel and 34 in the forefoot. So there definitely is a lot of it. It strikes a really good balance of being soft, but still responsive. Now, it is all one compound. There's not multi-layers of foam in here. You do have some rubber on the bottom, just for protection wise, but pretty much all of it is just that Fresh Foam X. Now, the Fresh Foam X, what I found over time with it is that it was fairly stiff to begin with, but after 50 or 100 miles, it started to soften a little bit. And it is getting to the point where it is a little bit squishy. You still get some responsiveness with it, so I'm still able to pick up the pace if I want to. I've heard some YouTubers and some people giving reviews of the shoe saying that it was really responsive and they felt comfortable doing tempo work and things like that in the shoe. I could certainly see that you could do that if you really wanted to. Let's say, if you had one shoe to buy and you wanted it to do all sorts of things and you wanted to put a lot of miles on it, this is probably a good shoe for that. But if you're really wanting to do a standardized tempo workout or some intervals or things like that, I wouldn't say that this is a great shoe for that. And it's not so much because of the weight. You are at almost 11 ounces in the standard size. In my size 11, you actually get more weight than that. So it's probably closer to 12 and a half ounces in my size. But I think what sets me back from feeling like it's a good shoe for that is that it's just so big and bulky. That's kind of the thing that sets me back. Not only with the amount of foam that you have here, but just the overall size of the shoe itself. I think that is something that is kind of a setback again for me when I think about doing any type of speed work in this shoe. Now, if we're talking about long runs, really great shoe for long runs, especially if you're starting to get up to half marathon into a marathon distance. I wouldn't recommend it for the race, a marathon race, but if you're just doing a long run that's getting up into the 15, 20 mile range, really great shoe for that. Gives you tons of protection. When we talk about the actual sole, the bottom of the shoe, you've got lots of rubberized protection in there and it's held up pretty well. Again, I've got about 250 miles on it. I am starting to see a little bit of wear there in the forefoot, but I've still got some protection. You have some more exposed foam in the middle, and so you are going to pick up some thorns and things like that with the shoe, but nothing that you're not going to experience with with any other shoe. So overall, I think it's a really good shoe. The one kind of setback for me is the $165. I did pull the trigger on it mostly because I was just interested in this shoe. I have run in a few New Balance shoes before. It's been several years. The last New Balance shoe that I ran in was the New Balance Fresh Foam Beacon, the first version. I think they're on version 3 or maybe even 4 now. So it is, a few versions old, and it was a different type of shoe. So I was excited for this one. Again, this is version 3. The reason that I was excited for it is version 1 and version 2. 1, not a very good looking shoe, and 2, I had just heard things that it was very, very stiff. And I think I had tried on the Fresh Foam version 1, and I found it to be just very stiff. It felt like I was walking in stilettos or something like that. It was not very comfortable, and it just seemed like there was a lot of foam there, but it just wasn't working or wasn't coming together in a very good package. I feel like the Fresh Foam version 3 is much different, and this is a very solid running shoe. I'd highly recommend it to someone, especially someone that's putting a lot of miles in. Now the difficult part is, if you're somebody that is only trying to decide on one shoe, it really depends on the type of mileage that you're running. So for me, I run 50 miles a week pretty much year round for the most part. So I do need something that's going to hold up pretty well during those miles. If you're somebody that's running 20 or 30 miles, you may want something that's a little bit lighter, still has some protection and some foam, but maybe not quite as much as this guy. So, or if you're a heavier runner, I think this is a really good shoe for them as well. So lots of different applications, I think, for the shoe. It's just about pulling what shoe you want out of your toolbox, and this is one of those. But overall, I think in the stack height, the maximum cushion category for shoes, I think this is towards the top. I've run in the Triumph 17 recently. I'll link to that video up here at the top at some point, so you can see my review of that shoe. I think that was a really good shoe as well. If I had to pick between the two, especially with this being a newer shoe, I think the technology has progressed a little bit. This is certainly a better shoe than the Saucony Triumph 17. But overall, really enjoyed the shoe so far. I'll get more miles out of it, I think, than a standard shoe. Like my last shoe, I think I got 350 or 400 miles, and that's generally what I get out of most kind of daily trainer type shoes. For this one, I'll probably push it towards 500 again. You can see it's still holding up really well. I'm at 250 miles. I am getting a little bit of wear on there, but overall the shoe is holding up really well. Not a lot of dirt or stains or anything like that. So, and then the upper obviously is holding up very well also. So overall, great shoe, highly recommend it. Thanks so much for tuning in today, guys. Be sure to like and subscribe this video if you enjoy this content, and we will catch you on the next one. And remember, run slow to run fast.